So in this video, I am going to be showing you how to create a re-engagement email in Flodesk using the new features that they have released as of May 2020. And basically what a re-engagement email does is go out to people who have been inactive on your list. So maybe they haven't opened an email in a while, they haven't clicked any links, they haven't done any of those things in maybe 30, 60, 90 days, or however long you want to set it for. So they're inactive on your list, and having a lot of inactive people on your list just means that you end up with lower open rates, you end up with lower conversion rates, and it can just be a bit demoralizing when you're sending out emails and it seems like no one's opening them, but it's possibly because you've got quite a few inactive people on there who maybe you should just completely delete. But what you don't want to do is actually delete those subscribers, because some of them might just have good reasons for not opening your emails. They may not have seen them. So we want to basically give people a second chance before you go ahead and delete them and clean your list. That is the key to a re-engagement email, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So first of all, the very first thing I have done is set up a landing page on my website. I use Squarespace for my website design, and I have just set up a page that basically says, "Thank you for staying part of the community." Now, people who actually want to re-engage with you, anyone who receives your re-engagement email and says, actually, yes, I still want to be receiving your emails, sorry that I haven't engaged in a while, they are going to be sent here if they click a button. So you want to create a page that, just says thank you or something along those lines. What I've also added onto my page is a little bit of a form, just a one field form here, asking them if there's any way that I can actually improve my newsletters. So maybe there was a reason why they weren't opening them and they want to tell me. So I've given them the opportunity there, just a really simple field. And again, just telling them that I'm really happy they decided to stay on the list, making it really personal. And then I've also included my other resources that they can learn more from me as well. So that's what I've just set up in my website as a thank you landing page. And you're going to want to have this link ready because you do need this step as part of the process. So let me just show you quickly in the Flodesk audience, in the subscribers section, the new filtering tool that Flodesk has recently added. If we click on filter here, you'll see in the activity section, this is what we're going to be looking at. It will let you see what subscribers have been active within the last 30 days, within the last 7 days, or if they haven't been active in more than 30 days ago, 60 days ago, 90 days ago, 6 months ago, or a year ago. So this is kind of the opportunity for you to get rid of people who haven't even been active on your list for a year or 6 months, or if you're doing it, it's just like a couple of months ago. This is the point at which, you don't want to just be deleting them straight away. You probably do want to be sending them just a double check email. So I'm now going to go ahead and go into segments because I want to create a brand new segment for this, and I'm going to call this one Inactive. So what we're going to do once we've set up our workflow is add everyone who hasn't been active in the last 30 days, 60 days. It's up to you. I'm going to do 60 days, so that means they haven't opened any of my emails in the last 2 months. And what we're going to do once we have created the workflow is add them to this segment. So now I'm going to go into workflows and create a new one and start from scratch, calling it re-engagement. So the first thing you have to do when you create a workflow is add a trigger. So I'm going to add the first trigger to be a subscriber is added to the segment, and I'm just going to select the new segment we created. So I go into a lot more detail about how to use workflows and what all of this stuff means in my Email Marketing with Flodesk online course. So if you want more detail on that, definitely go and check that out. I will leave the link in the description. It is the first and only online course currently that teaches email marketing from starting a list, growing a list, nurturing a list, all using Flodesk as the platform of choice. So if you are interested in using Flodesk more for more complicated things like this, definitely go check that out. So basically what this means is that once a subscriber has been added to the inactive segment, then it will trigger this workflow to start. And it's only going to have a couple of steps. So the first one is an email will get sent to them. And this is our re-engagement email. So you can go ahead and duplicate an existing email using a design that you may or may not have already created and set up in Flodesk. Or you can start from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch. I've actually got a list of my favorites here as well from templates that I've created previously. So maybe just to save time, I might just go with one of these and customize this. So now what we want to do is fill in the text, basically asking people, haven't heard from you in a while, do you still want to be on this list or not? And giving them the option to basically opt in again by clicking a button. But I will just fill in all of this and set it all up and then talk you through that in just a moment. So you can definitely make it longer than this, you can make it more detailed, but there are a few key things that I wanted to note. First of all, you'll notice that my headline here is quite relaxed and not too pushy. I have received re-engagement emails from people before that have kind of made me feel a bit guilty, which I don't want to do to my audience at all. I would rather they are just, happy and just want to opt in on their own merit. I don't feel like I need to guilt them. So, if you want to put stuff that's a little bit more pushy, like, oh, did I say something wrong? Or, why don't you want to be part of this or whatever? Up to you, completely up to you. But I've made it a bit more light-hearted. But basically I've explained that I don't want to keep pestering them. If the content isn't right for them, if they're not opening them, then that's absolutely fine. But if I don't hear from them a week after sending this email to them, I will remove them from my list altogether. So we'll set up this whole week thing in just a second. But the next message is just saying, if you do want to continue receiving my emails, then click the button below to make sure you stay on the list. And I've obviously highlighted that in bold because I don't want people to miss it. I've also included some text just reminding people what they will receive if they do continue to stay on my list, which is really important, and you can go into more detail again here, just reminding people why they'll want to stay on your list in the first place. But bear in mind that a lot of these people haven't opened any of your emails in a while, so it's highly likely that they may not open this one, so they might not even read all of this. So it's up to you whether you feel it's worth spending a lot of time on this. But obviously the goal is that they do open it based on your subject line and things like that, so you want to keep them on the list. So then what I've done is I've added a button saying keep me on the list, or you could use other calls to actions here, but what I'm going to do is link that button to my thank you page that I've just created. So go to link and paste in my thank you page link, and that's it, it is done. Let's go to finish, and then that has added in the email here. And if we scroll down, this is where we want to change the subject line. Now this needs to be really attention grabbing, basically making people stop in their tracks and think, oh gosh, okay, maybe I do need to open this one. Again, it's up to you how pushy you want to be. I prefer not using guilt tactics and making people feel bad when they're opening your emails, but it's completely up to you. You could put something like, I miss you, or you're missing out if you want to be more pushy. You could put, did I say something wrong? Did I do something to offend you? These are more pushy tactics that I have come across before, but I'm just going to go with something really simple. So that will usually pique someone's interest. And then you also want to remember to put in the preview text, which also appears on people's desktops and their mobile devices, giving them a little bit of context of what else is in the email. So I've gone for basically explaining to people that they probably will be removed if they don't click this button, and that just creates a little bit of urgency there, but without being too guilt-provoking. So that's done now. Then what we want to do is we want to set a condition up. But before we can set a condition, we want to add a time delay to make sure that Flodesk doesn't just basically send out the email and then decide straight away whether someone's clicked the button or not giving anyone time to actually open the email and click the button. So as I said in my email message there, I said that I wanted to only remove them and judge this after a week. So I'm going to put 7 days here. So after 7 days, Flodesk will check if the person has clicked the link or not. And to tell it to do that, we want to add a condition. So this condition is saying take action if a subscriber has clicked a link. And then we want to find the link or the email, that it corresponds to. There's only one email in this workflow, so I'm just going to select that. And then choose the link that is in the email, and that is the thank you reactivate page there. So that's the condition. So once Flodesk has waited 7 days and worked out whether they have clicked the link or not, we then want to say if they have clicked the link, that means they are interested. So we want to add an action to remove them from the inactive segment. And what you could do is just leave it at that, and then they will just go back to being a normal subscriber in your list, and Flodesk should mark them as active again based on their activity in this workflow. But what you could also do is add them to a segment by going to action and add a subscriber to a segment. If you wanted to create a segment for re-engaged people so that you can send them specific things or just make a note of who they are, you could do that as well, and you would just add another one in there. I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to let them go back into my general list. So if after a week the subscriber hasn't clicked the link, obviously that means they probably are seriously inactive or disengaged and they won't be wanting to receive your email newsletters, and we can just delete them from the list at this point. So what we want to do is set up an action for if they haven't clicked the link. So I'm just going to click to add an action here. I'm also just going to get rid of this one down here. We don't want any kind of loose actions down here, otherwise Flodesk won't save the workflow. So I'm just going to delete that one. So now on the no side, we want to add an action, and we want to add them to a segment called disengaged. Now you can create this before you create the workflow, or if you haven't created it, go ahead and open Flodesk in a new tab, create a segment called disengaged, and then you'll need to come back here and refresh the page. So I'm just going to click disengaged here. What we also want to do as well is remove them from this inactive segment as well, so we don't accidentally delete people who are currently in this workflow. So I'm just going to go and add another action and then click remove and remove them from inactive. So once people have been through this workflow and Flodesk has decided whether they've clicked a link or not, they will then be completely removed from this inactive segment, so they won't receive anything else. So now we can click publish, and that workflow is now live. Now what you need to do is go back to your subscribers list and use that filter that we mentioned before. So we want to click filter. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm also going to make sure that I select people who are active. So it seems counterintuitive. Obviously, when it says active here, it doesn't mean that they've been active within the last few months or so. It just means they're not bounced, unsubscribed or marked as spam, because I don't want to be adding these people to a workflow. I want to leave them as they are. I am just going to go ahead and click active, make sure that I've got that last activity, however long ago that was, and then click apply filter. So I can now see I've got 794 results here. Then what I'm going to do is bulk select them, which is another new feature on Flodesk at the moment, which is really good. So I can now select all 794 of them. And what I'm going to do is now apply an action, and I want to add them to the inactive segment. So as soon as I do this and click save, what that will do is now add them to that workflow and send them that email asking them if they would like to stay subscribed. I haven't heard from you in a while. that sort of thing. So literally as soon as I click this will add them to the inactive list. And then I'm going to go over to workflows. And you should be able to see if you click the little analytics setting, 202 subscribers have been added. That's because it hasn't finished adding them all to this segment. It can just take a few minutes. So be patient, and if you refresh after about 10 minutes, you should start to see that all of the subscribers that you just added should be going into that workflow. And then what you just need to do is remember that after 7 days, people will have either clicked that link or not. So then after 7 days, you can come back into your subscribers and you can basically filter based on segment. So if we select the segment disengaged and apply filter, there will be a list of people who haven't clicked the link in the email. So you will then be welcome to basically bulk select them and then delete them. So what that looks like is if we select just 10 on this page and then click unsubscribe. You can unsubscribe or delete. I would just make a point that if you do delete them, that might be against privacy laws in your country. So it is important that you possibly still have those people's data on file just in case they request it as per GDPR law. So I would recommend, rather than deleting those subscribers who are in the disengaged segment after a week or so, and just unsubscribe them rather than delete them, because that removes all of their data, so you wouldn't be able to provide it if they requested it. So just unsubscribe them, then you will still have their data, but you won't be sending any emails to them. Also, it's important to note that if you did go ahead and create a new email, let's just duplicate this one just to show you. So let's say that I was ready to send out just my weekly newsletter, and then we go to next. Click continue. That's the subject line. And then just before we click send, it's going to ask you what subscribers you want to send your email newsletter to. Now, by default, it will probably just say all subscribers are included. But if we click add segments, which is slightly counterintuitive, you can actually remove segments as well. So what you would just want to do is exclude anyone in the inactive segment here. And you would also want to exclude anyone in the disengaged segment. I don't know why I clicked included. Exclude anyone in the disengaged segment that you haven't actually unsubscribed yet. So just make sure that you're doing those steps when you are creating your one-off emails as well. But that is how to create a re-engagement email. Obviously, as I said, after those 7 days, you then need to manually go into your subscribers to remove the disengaged people, because Flodesk doesn't currently have a feature that you can just unsubscribe people from within a workflow. You need to do that manually, but that's okay, because you can always just go ahead and double check the people in the disengaged group if you wanted to before unsubscribing them. So it just gives that little extra manual step, but for some people that might be better. So if you would like some more in-depth training on Flodesk, I do have an online course called Email Marketing with Flodesk, which teaches you how to use Flodesk to start, grow and nurture a thriving email list. It's a mixture of kind of email marketing strategies and concepts, all taught using Flodesk as the email marketing tool. And there's loads and loads of stuff in there. So if you are interested in getting more step-by-step tutorials on how to use Flodesk to its best ability, definitely go and check that out.